Hi everybody, how you doing? It's Glenn Giordano again, your favorite drummer, I hope. First I think I need to be my favorite drummer. Anyway, we're going to do another fun one today. This is a cool, not only exercise, but it's going to work into some really cool ideas for soloing. Not only cool, but impressive sounding and impressive looking. So, let's use the old glasses and let's take a look at, again, the Syncopation book. Page 34, those first 3 and 4 examples, although, like I said, you can use this on 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and you should. I did for many years. I want to show you this now in the first 4 examples just for the sake of the video. So, if you remember that first example like I showed you in the last video, right, that figure, and you'll see it here in the frames, is eighth note, quarter, quarter, which is 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, right? Very straight figure you've heard a million times. Pop, 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 right? But what we're going to do today is we are going to swing these notes. What does that mean? So we're going to pretend like it's a swing feel. What does that mean? We're going to pretend like there are triplets in between all of these hits. So it's going to sound like 1, a 2, a 3, 4. In other words, to break it down a little bit, let's play the triplets that were in between. And let me give you a little background. If you ever get to do some chart reading, maybe you do some theater work. Like I said, I did cruise ships for a long time. Many times folks will write out whatever accents or hits they want you to play, and they'll just write it out straight. They'll write it out like it's not swing, and on top they will write swing feel. Why? Because if you had to write the little 3s above and the little parentheses, it's just cumbersome to look at and it would be a pain. So people just write the notes straight and then they tell you swing feel. So looking at this, eighth note, quarter, quarter, to make it swing, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna throw all the triplets that I'm not playing in. Watch. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So if I took those triplets out, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, a 2, a 3, 4. And let's put them in at a little bit of a better clip. Now you see where I'm going with this? I'm doing this with the right-hand lead because most of you guys are writing, and I will do some of these as a left-hand lead. But let me keep going with this. Let's put the metronome on, and let's do this at a moderate clip at first, right? And I'm going to play those accents with all the triplets in between. And this is what I'm talking about. Playing it exactly this way on the drum kit. And imagine that those accents are tom-toms, cymbal crashes, hi-hat sparks, all that kind of stuff. And meanwhile, you got the triplets on the snare playing that continuous roll. It looks good. You've heard many guys do it. Many guys, from Buddy Rich to Keith Moon, have done this kind of thing. So this is a cool thing to do. And let's do it at first at about 120, and then let's do it at about 140. The first time, or 150. The first time I'm going to do the first 2 at the 120, and then we'll do all 4 at the higher speed, just to save a little time. All right, let's set up the metronome. All right, the metronome is set up. It's set up for 122, and let's do the first 2. And again, imagine I'm doing those accents on tom-toms with those middle notes on the snare drum. So if you just did this on your pad, what is this going to do? It's just going to help your creativity and your flow, and your ability to hear some accents or some melodies off the toms and do them like that. No working them out, no practicing. And how does that get to happen? By going page after page after page. There are so many rhythms, every possible combination you're going to get to. And it's going to help the signal between your brain and your hands. So let's go for this. 122, page 34 in Syncopation. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do this a little quicker so you can see it can be kind of fun. Let's get it up here around, I got it at 153, right? And you know what, just for fun, we changed the metronome to 2 and 4 now. So 153, metronome was hitting 2 and 4 for me. I'm going to do example 1, 2, 3, and 4 out of Syncopation book on page 34, and I'm going to throw all those triplet things in there. Watch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. There you go. That is a triple fill, and you can go faster than that. And like I said, imagine in your head, I got those cymbal crashes and bass drum hits. Maybe I got all 4 on the floor with a hi-hat on 2 and 4, and I'm doing everything off rim shots. Whole gamut of possibilities for you. But we ain't done. Let's make it a little fancier, a little more impressive. How do we do that? Okay. So we're doing those triplets, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, right, as every in-between note. Suppose we take every note that you're not accenting and make it a double. 1 and a, right? Instead of going 1 and a, 2 and a, 3, I'm going to go 1 and a, 2 and a, 3. So every single note that I'm not playing as an accent, I'm doing as a double stroke roll. So basically, I'm doing 16th note triplets, a 16th note triplet double stroke roll, which would be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, right? That's a 16th note roll. Let me do it nice and slow for you. A 16th note triplet double stroke roll, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, right? Every single syllable has 2 hits, right? And so I hit that 1 and that duh on the cymbals or the toms, and all my in-between notes are going to be on the snare as a roll. And watch how this sounds. Let me break down the sticking in the first one just so you can see it. And then let's play this at a little better clip, and you're going to see how, when you're doing this quick enough, how smooth, how flowing, how impressive it sounds. Sounds and looks, by the way. And you have seen, again, Buddy Rich do this kind of stuff. Tony Williams has done this kind of stuff. Art Blakey did this kind of stuff a lot. I've seen Gadd do this kind of thing. So many guys have, Weckel have done this kind of thing. It's so fun to play. It's a way that, to be honest with you, I end a lot of my solos doing this kind of thing, only because it's so impressive. And once you get the hang of it, you could just do anything that comes to your mind over the 16th note triplet double stroke roll. So let's break this down for you. The whole thing nice and slow, the whole thing, so you can see what I'm feeling and what I'm not. So again, that figure is 1, a 2, a 3, 4. 1, a 2, a 3, 4. So watch. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and number 2 would be, which is 1, 2, a 3, a 4. So instead of going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, every triplet that is not accented, once again, I'm making it a double. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. One, two, three, four. So right now you're saying, okay, I get it, but I still hear all those stops. But watch when we put a little more mustard to it. Right, I got the set for 110. Metronome's on 2 and 4. So let's get that 16th note triplet double stroke roll going. Let's line it up with the metronome. 110, and I'm using a right hand lead, and then let me put those accents in of exercises 1 and 2, and then we'll take it at it, because you're still going to hear some of the stops on exercises 1 and 2 at this tempo. But when you get it up to 140, 150, 160, you don't hear those stops anymore. So watch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so you hear those stops a little bit there, but not even that much at 110, right? And because triplets are open to a little interpretation, they can kind of stretch those doubles out a little bit so that everything sounds kind of smooth. Now watch when we kick this up to, what we were at, 153 before? Let's go a little quicker because it's double strokes. And let me do a left hand lead, all right? So now I kicked it up to 159. We got the metronome on 2 and 4. I'm going to do a left-hand lead with traditional grip, just like the way I would play this. I would probably do the accents on the cymbals with a bass drum hit, and you're going to watch how cool this sounds, how impressive this sounds. I'm going to do examples 1 through 4, page 34 of Syncopation, right? And by the way, that fourth one, which we haven't really gone over, would be, if I were to play it, let's cut this out a second. If I were to play it straight, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Playing it swing, it's 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. But here we go. We're going to do it this way. Let's start with the triplet, the 16th note triplet double stroke roll again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. So, Glenn, what does that do for me? Now, I was taking a nice clip at 159, it's almost 160, 16th note triplets all the way through. What does that do? You know, to build up to that, go ahead and go at 130, 140, and build yourself up to that. Because it'll get better and better. You can see at 110, it still sounded smoothish, smoothish. So what does this do for you? 1, it gets your double stroke roll together. You start really working, as you keep inching up that metronome, you get your double stroke roll together. That's 1. 2, you get the ability to get that double stroke roll going. And like I was saying, you got that double stroke roll going. Right? I can just kind of do whatever accents I want over that on my cymbals and my tom-toms, hi-hat sparks, whatever I want to do. And I'm free to do it. I'm free. I feel very free to do it because I'm not encumbering or having to work out anything or making my double stroke roll stutter because I've done this so much that it's so strong. It helps your chart reading. It helps you to see the figure and do it as swing and do it as straight, right? Do all those things that you want to do. And finally, I believe it helps you to swing because swing is one of those things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but swing is one of those things where, and you know, I hear bass players say it all the time. Some guys swing, some guys don't. And it's not about the notes. It's about where you place them in the feel and understanding the triplet and the interpretation thereof of such a thing. And that Tony Williams had a very tight swing. So did Buddy Rich. Art Blakey had a very loose swing. Gadd's swing is a little more open than Vinnie Caliuta's swing. So all are valid and all swing. And there are components in swing that you just can't articulate into words. You just got to do them. You got to play them. And you got to feel what's swinging and what's not. A lot of times, even when I do that thing I just did with rim shots on the snare, I keep that hi-hat pumping on 2 and 4. And it helps the swing along. So anyway, let's do the final moment of this video on my drum set in my studio. And because I'm a Star Trek fan, let's transport over to the studio right now. Energize. Beaming back into my lovely Canton teaching studio, which has been empty for whatever, 3-4 months now, sadly. I'm going to do what I promised, and I'm going to take that same thing we were doing on the pad, and I'm going to do it between, and really, because I need the camera there, and I think you can hear better. Normally, I might keep the hi-hat on 2 and 4 for the sake of this exercise. I'm just going to play the top of the hi-hat so you can see it, but you can imagine if I was playing, 2 crashes up here, or even just tipping them. I do that a lot when I'm doing my solos. I think it's more articulate in some ways when instead of crashing a cymbal and I'm doing accents in my solo, I tip it. But let's do those first 4 exercises, and I'll have them posted somewhere in the frame here as we go. But we're going to just, again, reiterate them, right? The first one is 1 and 2 and 3, 4, which we will be playing as 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one is 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, which we will be playing as 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The third one, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, which we'll be playing as 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. And the fourth one, which is 1, 2, 3 and 4, which you could also interpret as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? And I'm going to do all those other 16-note triplets in my snare. I'm going to do them in a decent clip, and I want you to hear how this sounds fluid and smooth and fun and impressive for the audience. So that's the metronome at, 71, but because this in this room it doesn't do the fancy stuff, so it's at 71, but that would make it at making that 2 and 4 would make me playing at 142. So, which is a decent clip. So here we go. I'm going to start with a little triplet roll, line myself up, and then I'm going to do them all 4 in a row. And I'll probably end with a little cordinal thing to show you how impressive this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you can do that a couple of ways. You can even do it with the accents on the 8th notes here on the snare, just to demonstrate, like that last one. That, you can do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great solo ideas, kind of really cool fill ideas. They're challenging, fun, and impressive looking. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Imagine that you can even do that with single strokes, and it's still cool looking. I hope you got something out of this. Well, be well, my friend.